is on positive psychology and education. We're going to get started because I've been alerted that lunch is going to be in this room, so we might start to get people in the session. So I'm also going to introduce all the speakers now on the front end on the assumption that those people who are here for the session are here in the audience now. It's a really exciting session. This is an important topic in applied positive psychology, and I think you're going to hear really interesting different perspectives on this broad set of issues. The first speaker is going to be Bruce Smith from the University of New Mexico. He is an associate professor at the University of New Mexico, specializing in clinical psychology, who has done a lot of work there on campus and classroom initiatives in positive psychology. And he'll be talking about breaking good, bringing positive psychology to the land of enrichment. After Professor Smith, Karen Beard will be speaking. She is a professor in educational administration at Ohio State University, who has done a lot of work for looking at learning and teaching and educational administration from a positive psychology perspective. Her talk is called Leading Schools, Positive Psychology Constructs, Promoting Student Engagement and Well-Being. She's going to talk to us about things like academic confidence and flow in the classroom. And then finally, Jennifer Pedrati is here from California Polytechnic State University, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, where she's in the Department of Psychology and Child Development. And she has done a great deal of research at the intersection of multiculturalism and positive psychology. Most recently with Lisa Edwards, she edited a volume through Springer called Perspectives on the Intersection of Multiculturalism and Positive Psychology. And she has extensive work in that area, as well as a textbook that's widely used in undergraduate positive psychology classes. Her talk is called Adding a Culturally Confident View to Undergraduate Positive Psychology, and she'll talk about how that's actually done. So without further ado,
first of all, after a long trip from a place as high and dry as New Mexico, and once again hearing Mike's story yesterday about being inspired on the beach with Martin Seligman, we had to make the trip to the beach last night. And despite the fact that Martin Seligman wasn't there to rescue me, a lot of my students were, although I think one of them has a probably embarrassing video. So thinking about how good it is to be here with the ideas that we talked about yesterday before, with some wonderful experience in that respect. What I want to do is talk about a different pathway. We have lots of people who think about in our society and in our culture this one pathway. Whether or not you're a fan of this particular fictional world that is called Breaking Bad, that took someone down a very unpositive psychology path. I'm going to talk about another we want to tell you about some of the kinds of things that we've tried to do at the University of New Mexico to kind of enable people to get started in a different kind of direction. I got a new car early this summer, and it was just about a month after I got the new car. I haven't had anybody hit me in 20 years. Somebody rear-ended me. And after we talked and after we got everything settled, she told me because she thought that she was really afraid that I was going to hurt her, do something to her, because after all, Albuquerque was the land of breaking bad. So trying to find a way to move people in a different direction. So I want to talk about some of the things that we've done to use positive psychology to open up a better path. And this will be practical. I want you to think about what you've done, look forward to hearing your ideas. We're going to talk about some courses and how they've evolved. I'm going to talk about a large lecture course, a lab course, a teaching practicum, something that I've worked with Ryan Niemann, who's written books on positive psychology and movies to develop at the University of New Mexico, having movie nights where we use them as a way to engage people and the community around positive psychology. We worked on this name for a long time. We have a student group here that is called Happy psychos, the silver liners. We came up with that. And then there's something called the Happiness Alliance of New Mexico. I'll say a little bit about that, but some of you may know about that. Ways that we've worked together to really try to be active in Albuquerque as well as Santa Fe. So let me say something about this lecture course, kind of the way that evolved. Started 2005, it was kind of in the shadow of Hurricane Katrina. We had people actually come from the New Orleans area that came up to Albuquerque because it's a good place to avoid the water. And so they basically were a part of the initial class. This class has really kind of taken off. I came to New Mexico wanting to get tenure, focusing a lot on research, but it just had so much fun and enjoyment. I really loved to be able to work with students with this kind of class. So it's really grown a lot. It was voted the best class at the university last year, very popular. So I'm going to say a little bit about how the course is structured, some of the things that we have found to be helpful, and see if you can resonate with some of this. So we talked about happiness, we talked about well-being yesterday. Basic course is to get people a sense of thinking about what it is that makes you happy, that engages you, that moves you ahead in your life. And then we also think about how to move towards in that direction. So using the DIA strengths as kind of a basis for structuring that. But the things that I think really have made it come to life are things like video clips that really illustrate. That's what I love about cognitive psychology, is you have all these opportunities and ways to bring it alive. So if you have a TV show like Breaking Bad, you may also have opportunities to move people in another direction. Positive psychology exercises used, how beneficial are typical elements of the class. This is one of the things that we've continued to do, to look at what people find as being beneficial, things like eye clickers, I'm sure you've heard of, readings, test reviews. Fortunately, they like the lectures generally and the PowerPoints. But we also have tried different exercises and really based this on some of the work that Martin and other people have done to see which ones are most effective over a period of time. And the two that seem to be the ones that we really focused on, taking the VIA survey, doing basic papers about what your strengths are, working on them, having feedback over the internet. The good things assignment, good things report, something else where we're basically having people take the VIA with other people seems to be really good at engaging people. Some of the more unique elements of the class, they don't like to talk to each other. It's hard to get people to engage in a large class. Some people love it, some people don't. So this would be one of the things I'd be curious what your experience is for engaging people in the positive psychology class. We have something I'll talk about in a few minutes, peer teaching assistants we have in class. This is the thing that the learning the student needs has been something that has been so important that I think really fits with what we're about. It's getting to know people in a personal sense. That's something that the instructor has done. That's something that TAs have done. I think it's really made a difference. We've done extra credit movies. We've done lots of other options. We started having questions on the exams where we asked people, what's the most important thing that you've learned since the last exam? And how can you apply something that you've learned to your life? And just being able to read that and see what people come up with is something that's an invaluable experience for a lot of us. But the video clips are the thing that we sort of evolved over a period of years. And so what I want to do is give you a sampling of some of the video clips. I'm not going to play them. I'll tell you what they are for illustrating some of the strengths, some of the ones that have been most popular for students. One of them is a scene from the movie Enchantment, where she finally realizes that she can make a difference. And what does she do? She goes out in the streets of Paris to be able to be the sight to a blind man. Describes the whole streets of Paris to you. Scene from the Claremont, when the children say Atticus. They're the ones that Lynch mob comes, if you remember that scene. Remember who you are in the Lion King. Beautiful scene from the movie Gandhi about forgiveness, where he tells a person who has killed another child out of anger what to do to be able to forgive himself, and it involved raising another child, same age, but raise him as the other religious faith. Vitality is a wonderful video of an old couple playing the piano. Love of learning. We've shown Good Will Hunting sometimes for movie nights. There's a bar scene where Matt Damon really kind of shows how valuable his own intrinsic motivation to learn is. This is a lot of people's favorites. The Shawshank Redemption. Talk about appreciation of beauty. So he's in a situation where he's in prison. He finally gets a little bit of freedom, and he takes this opportunity to do what? To play this beautiful opera song. But nobody understood what it was, but they know it was something beautiful. Social intelligence, there's a nice scene Sandra Bullock does from the Blind Side movie. This is one of my favorite scenes, concentration camp. The Life is Beautiful movie, where the Roberto Benigni character is trying to protect his son, using his own creativity to be able to tell a story, to make it all a game for him. Meaning and purpose, think of Robin Williams. Think about what he played in the movie Dead Poets Society, when he talks to the young man about seizing the day. Beautiful, beautiful video. If you haven't seen this, Derek Redmond was an Olympic athlete who back in 1992 in Barcelona, he pulled a hamstring muscle, and he ended up finishing the race, went all the way around with the help of his father, walking the track. So that was a beautiful one. But the number one, since we're near Hollywood, the very best of Hollywood versus the drama of psychological experiments, the one that people really tend to be engaged in is the marshmallow experiment. We always do this with, we don't give them marshmallows, but we say that we're going to give them the longest kiss that they've ever experienced. So we give them Hershey Kisses and have them experience this and try to live that for themselves. And so it's a very good way to engage people in the class. So what about this kind of a class has enabled people, students to take a different path? It seems like continuing to be able to get feedback from students and teaching assistants. Being able to continue to see what videos really speak to people. And this is an idea that I think positive psychology can take farther. The idea of what Campbell talks about is a hero's journey. There's stories that can enable us to really picture and see what it's like to experience bringing these strengths into our lives. Put us on a different kind of trajectory. Think about narrative psychology and how that can move us forward. Exercises that engage the students, the personal nature of the class itself. The second thing I wanted to talk about is we call a positive psychology lab, but it's not that kind of a lab. Basically, this grew out of interest of students to continue to learn about positive psychology as the other class grew larger. That's a prerequisite for this particular course. This course is about 20 people, and people have rated this course very highly. We have some people in the room who are a part of this picture here, who were a part of this particular course. How is this course structured? One of the things that we found to be really, really valuable is just to give people an opportunity to talk about what their strengths are and give illustrations from their lives. So basically say, what are your top strengths? It can be the VIA, it can be something else. Talk about it in front of the group. And then what the group does is they basically give them feedback about what they see as their strengths and how they see them played out, and how they can reach their goals. And what it does is builds a really kind of a wonderful community that I don't think a lot of people experience in their lives. How you learn how to see other people in ways that you never would have expected them to be able to shine or express their strengths in that way. And it's been a really kind of a transformative thing for a lot of students in that respect. So the whole class provides feedback. Everybody does a presentation about a group of strengths, one of the virtues, for example, courage, it would be perseverance, courage, as well as authenticity. People also mentor people in the other class, and one of the fun things that we've started doing as well is every week it's like a laboratory where different students, out of 20 people, they will basically practice one of the positive psychology exercises for themselves, come back, rate how they did it, we try to look at that, the ratings, and then they also talk about what the experience was like. counting kindness or gratitude exercises. And what it enables people to do is to really get a sense of how these things work with different people and how you can apply them in your own life as well as other people. So, the beneficial elements of this class in terms of the rate, always looking for better readings, but people really tend to like the engagement part. Giving feedback, giving group presentations, getting feedback on people's strengths, doing the exercises, discussing the exercises, watching the individual presentations, giving the individual presentations, discussion quality. So there's something about people making themselves vulnerable in front of a group of other people and saying that there's this thing about me that I wasn't really aware of. Maybe it's appreciation of beauty that has really enabled me to be able to find beauty, cope with my life, deal with difficult situations. That when we do that as a part of a community, it really opens us up, I think, to see each other in a different kind of way. So it's been a really beautiful experience in that respect. So in terms of the exercises, some of the things that we've done, giving examples of your strengths, loving kindness, counting kindness, 3 good things, mentoring, writing about that, strengths in any way, savoring appreciation, gratitude, writing about best possible self, Laura King's exercise, meeting with the mentee, writing to cope with stress, and I see Mike here. The one that we just tried was this engagement and flow activity that people just loved this. Try to define what flow was and then give them an opportunity to go out and see if they can experience that. So that's some of the things that have really been working. The things that have made this successful, I think, doing the individual presentations, getting feedback, enabling students to sort of see the best in themselves, seeing the best in others, mentoring, doing group presentations, building teamwork, as well as doing and discussing exercises, provide a laboratory for learning new things. How are we doing in time? I got about a minute. Okay. So what I really wanted to say in the last part of this was that so the classes are a really good foundation for developing a community of group, a larger class, a smaller class working together, and then we have a group of students who, many are here, who started the student organization that now is becoming a life of its own, being able to not only do things that they enjoy with each other, but reaching out to the community. We also have something called the Happiness Initiative, now the Happiness Alliance. That is a group of people, some of them are based in Seattle. They're working along the lines of what they're doing in Bhutan to try to help assess well-being in all the population to be able to see if they can move that forward in terms of public policy. So there's lots of ways that these classes have sort of grown beyond that. But I think the best evidence, have a picture, I don't think I can call it evidence, but I think the best evidence of whether this kind of thing works and the effect that it has is what happened on our trip out here, when we came out here. Basically, we came, it wasn't quite planes, trains, and automobiles, but we had several cars and about 15 people, and we had several things come up when we drove out on Friday. The biggest thing was we got a text from another one of our vehicles that one of the vehicles, it was an explosion. so we drove, we were in Kingman, Arizona, we drove back, we got them, and we found out that one of our vans was probably a total loss. I'm not sure about that as well. But the people in the group with their experience and having had these classes and working together, I think it also selects people who are really good to get along. It ended up being much more what I think life would be about, rather than being about having to get here at a certain time. It was more about the experience together, and people were talking about what their strengths were and how their strengths are enabling them to sort of cope with this kind of a situation. So if I wouldn't call that breaking good, I might call that breaking down good. a lot of our life is how we respond to situations like that. And I think one of the big frontiers and that I've heard in lots of talks is not so much just becoming better as individuals, but making the next bridge to the community. And I think that college classes, university setting, as well as other settings are a wonderful opportunity for doing that. So I'm just really grateful for all the people that have contributed to the development of positive psychology, and just welcome more of a dialogue, whatever you want to call it, for what are some good ways to do that.